Hi everyone. Ooh. Moved all my settings and now I have to like figure it out. Okay, are we ready for the haunted house? I'm so excited. Where did I put, oh. We're gonna use our Stitch and Flick needle minder. Okay, so we are going to start with the main part of our house this week. Well, today and this week we're gonna do like the base of our house. So it's not super exciting, but it has to be done. So what we're gonna do first is work on like the exterior of the home, and then we'll start adding like roof and stuff like that. So I can see your comments. So if you have a question, please don't use the question box. That's really hard for me to go into when I'm trying to film. So just leave a comment and I can see those and I will respond. Let me pull up my image real quick so I can remember what colors I have planned. All right, so today we are going to work with two of our lighter purples. So we've got our 209 and our 552. That's all we're gonna work with today. You can leave the rest in your bag or box or whatever you're using. And let's get started. Now, if you did this stitch along 2 years ago, we did a lot of satin stitch. We are doing some satin stitch this time. That's what we're gonna start with, but I promise we won't do as much as we did last time. It took us a lot of days to get through that. So my only concern with this fabric, oh yeah, I should have put something behind it. I'm gonna have to put something behind it. You're not gonna be able to see that. That's gonna be annoying. I mean, you can like see all the shadows. So hold on, let me grab some white. I gotta use two fabrics. Hold on. I'm afraid that will bug me, and I think it will bug you too. It's just too thin. Okay. In person, it looks fine, but on the video, it is not. And we've been making bracelets. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut a piece and just stick it behind. Sorry, give me just a minute to get this in here. So 2 layers just looks the same as one, but you won't be able to see through it like you were seeing before. So when I do 2 layers, I like to get the backing one straight first, and then I get my top layer straight. I feel like it's easier. Who's new to the stitch along and who did it last time? I did the last one. Yeah, I would love to hear that too. Who is doing this for the second time? If you're live and new or old. Yeah, that's way better to see. Okay. Laura's is her first time. 3 or 4 times. Oh, let's see, Amanda did the first one. TL Young, and I can't think of your first name, I'm sorry. 3 or 4 times. Kelly's first time. Yeah. It's been a good time. Okay, so I'm going to cut this really pretty close so it stays out of my way. First time. Tracy, yes, thank you. First time. I'm terrible at remembering names. Please don't be offended that I don't remember your name. If it doesn't say it in your like handle, there's a good chance I might not remember. Okay. Now I do need to cut off my corners so that they're out of the way. I should have done this already. I'm sorry, you guys. Then we could just get to stitching. But here we are. Okay. It's not very centered, but that's okay. I can center it later. All right, that's gonna be way easier to look at. Okay, so we are gonna start with satin stitch. I was gonna start with something else. I think I was gonna try brick stitch first, but I do think that satin stitch is a really good first stitch to start with because it's just like the basis of a lot of stitches. It's a good one to learn, period, always. So we're gonna start with satin stitch and then we'll move on. We are gonna do it a little bit differently this time. So what we're gonna do is pick whichever color you like best, either the dark or the light. And what we're gonna do is do most of it with one color and then we'll go in and just make some lines with the other and make them like evenly spaced so it looks more like siding. So I'm going to stitch with the medium purple and then do some of the detailing with the lighter. So you pick what you want to do. I'm gonna go with the medium purple first, which is 552. Now, this is a big hoop. Mine is 8 inches, so it's quite large. If you are using a smaller hoop, I would say use fewer strands. So if you're using like a 7-inch, you might want to use like 4 strands. Well, 6 or 7-inch. I might use 4 strands for the satin stitch versus 6. So if you're splitting strands, let me show you what that looks like. So embroidery thread comes with 6 strands. So if you're doing fewer strands, then you need to separate them. So these are all just twisted together. You can kind of see as you pull that these will untwist. You see that? So if you are taking out some strands, you can do it like that and do it like 2 and 4. I usually like hold it like this and then unwind. See, that one doesn't want to unwind with this one, but you can do them separately too. Or sometimes I'll just go to the other end and then do it that way. Those two just weren't close enough together. So these ones will. And then you can like untwist them this way, or you can take them one at a time and just pull it out like this and just pull it this way. Like they'll just like come out. And then you have to take out however many you're not going to use. So I'm going to stick with 6 because I'm doing an 8-inch hoop. So I want all 6 strands. But if you're doing a 6 or 7, I would recommend doing 4 strands. All right, so putting needle in or thread in your needle, I usually get mine wet and then I pinch it between 2 fingers and flatten it out really nicely. These are all separated now because I started pulling them apart. And then they should slide into your needle pretty easily. Whoops, got stuck to my finger. Now this is a skill that takes time. So if this is your first time doing embroidery, please be patient with yourself. Even I don't always thread a needle on the first try. I really wish I hadn't have tried to separate these. There we go. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna satin stitch. Now, Satin stitch. I'm like trying to wrap my mind around what I'm trying to tell you. I start with a knot. I just do just a regular little knot at the end. There's other ways to do embroidery that you're not doing knots on your fabric or on your project, but I don't do those. So if you want to look up like waist away knots, that's a good way to do knots so that they don't like stay on the back of your project. I'm not worried about that, so I'm not doing that. But if you want to look it up, it's called a waist away knot. But anyways, okay, so what I'm going to do is go in and satin stitch first. Now my lines are a little harder to see because it's the carbon paper. I think I can actually see them better on the video than in person. But what we do is we start at one side and we're going to work our way to the other, and we're going to do that the whole time. So pick whichever side. I feel like I usually stitch left to right. I don't know. So satin stitch is we're trying to make stitches that look like satin. So we want them to look really smooth. So to do that, we want to make sure our thread is smooth, and then we lay them right next to each other. So always starting on one side and going down on the other side. Let's zoom in here. We want these like as close together as we can get them. And then we will squeeze in our other purple when we need to. So I'm just gonna lay these like right next to each other to fill the space. Now, if you have one that looks a little bit funny, if you very gently put your needle in there and kind of just slide it under, it'll like smooth them out. So like my first one, because I had kind of separated those threads, it wasn't laying quite as smooth as it could. So just going in and kind of pulling those a little bit straighter, or a little like smoothing them out helps a lot. Now the big thing with satin stitch is making sure that you stay on your line. Now this is a haunted house, so if things are not straight, I'm telling you right now, it still looks adorable. So the best that you can, like stay on a straight line, but if it's not exactly perfect, it's a haunted house. It's not meant to be. So we're not worried. We're not too worried about it, but this is a great time to like practice getting like nice, smooth, put together stitches. If you come up and decide you don't like where you're at, go back down and try it again. So the space we're gonna do purple is, see already I'm like coming up in a little bit. That line is hard to see. So we are gonna do just the front part of the house. So right here and right here with satin stitch, and then over here. We're gonna do other stuff for the rest of it. So this might take you a couple of days, but you have all week to work on it because we're not gonna do any of the detail work until next week. So these first 5 days you can do in any order and it won't matter. So as long as you like just get it like done before next week, we're good to go. So if you worked on this like a little bit every day with your other stuff, because the other days, well, tomorrow will be a longer day as well. The main part of the house, I'm sorry, it's just a lot of work. It's just a lot of stitches. So, okay, now I can kind of see how my line is kind of coming up at an angle now. It's a very small angle, very, like it's not a super steep angle. So what I'm gonna do right now to fix it is instead of coming up like right next to, I'm gonna come up just a little bit more than I would normally. So then when I go down, I can go down really close to this and kind of straighten that line a little bit. Like that. And then I'll do that again. I'll come up just a little bit more than I normally would, and then I'll do my next one really close. I think it's funny, these gel lines, because I put in a couple of like gel lines that I had missed when I was doing the carbon. And they are so bright white. it's like cracking me up. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stitch until I run out of thread, and then I will show you what we're gonna do with the second color. Now with, if you're using the original color palette, I forgot to say what colors, hold on. I don't have them up with me, just a second. We did I'm looking at my color list. We mixed colors, and so we did like 2 colors in the needle at the same time. So we did, I want to say it was 648 and BLANC, which is white, and we mixed them. So we had like 3 of each, and when we did our satin stitch, we just mixed colors. And did a satin stitch. So if you are wanting to do like we're gonna do this time and do like some defining lines in there, I would stitch with one or the other, either white or 648, and then use the second color to do your details. So you can pick either mixing colors or pick which one you want to do. This line is not super straight, but we will put a door jamb around our door, like a trim, and we'll cover that up. So we're not going to worry about it. I feel like I need to go over this. I might do that after the live, like go over my lines with a gel, because I feel like it's like it's not showing up as well as I need it to. It's making it a little harder to see where I'm stitching. I can like see it puff. Like when I pull, it's like a chalk. You can like see it like right here. You can watch it like puff up. I don't know if you can, let me see if I can see it in the video. Especially when I go down, it's like puff. Yeah, a little bit, not really. I don't know if I'll do carbon paper again. I really like the gel pens. It's just hard to see through the fabric is all. Like it makes it a little bit harder to see what you're tracing. So maybe that's the trick. Do the carbon paper and then go over it with like a gel pen. I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of people that use carbon paper. Do you guys have any questions while I stitch this? I did my nails yesterday, so we have Halloween nails to look at. Oh, see, I've got that angle back right there. You kind of have to pay attention. But that's okay, we're gonna fix it. Now, make sure you're like staying on your door line so that you like come in on this curve, because we want to make sure that we go right up against like where that window's gonna go. Love the nails. Can you please repeat where on the house do we do the satin stitch? Yeah, so we're gonna do the satin stitch on the main part of the house. So down here on the porch and then up above it, and that's all. We're not gonna go up here. We're gonna do something else up here. So right here, and then on this part right here, but not this little section of the door. So I'll post a story as well that shows all the different places. But yeah, So if you look at the photo on, I'm gonna pull it up real quick. So we're gonna do here and here, we'll do a different stitch up here, and then just this area here. So we'll do something else like on this section here. And then I'll post a story showing you what we're doing as well. Now, I don't love doing a satin stitch that's too long. Like, I don't want to do a satin stitch that goes all the way over to the end of this house because it tends to get a little bit loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop right here because we're going to have that post right here. So we'll do stitching over this line. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop right there. I want to make sure it stays straight, but I'm going to go and stop right there where that post on the porch is going to go. So then it'll cover up that seam, but then my satin stitch won't go across the whole house. So then my other stitch will go from here to the edge. Does that make sense? Then I don't have a bunch of stitches that are going to might loosen over time. They're probably fine. I'm just get paranoid about it. But just this part. So when I go like between the house and the door, I'll do the full thing. Like I just don't want to go all the way across the whole area. But that spot it'll be covered up, so we're not gonna stress about it. Okay, so I'm gonna come down here. I could probably go across this. It's not quite as far, but my needle's almost gone. And then I'll show you what we're gonna do with the other color. See, then I can this is a shorter stitch, so I'm just gonna go across that area. I feel like you can see a lot of gaps on the video. Like, it looks like there's tons of gaps in my thread, but it doesn't look that way in person. That one was kind of a gap. We might be able to do like 4 more stitches maybe. Are we going to be stitching the beam detail at the top over the satin stitch? Yes. So when we stitch like the posts, it'll go right over the top of our satin stitch. So then it'll cover up this area that I'm gonna have those 2 satin stitches meet. Is that what you were asking? A lot of the details will be on top of the stitches that we're already doing. All right, I think just one, nah, that's all. I'm gonna tie this off. Okay, so tying off on the back. Let me flip this over. So that's what our back is kind of looking like. So I like to just grab a little piece of the stitching that I've already done and wrap my needle around it, and then just make a little knot. And then if you have space, if you kind of just weave your end under and then it's kind of out of your way. I've been having problems with like my tail pulling into my work, but if you kind of do that, so it has a tail, and then you can just trim it, then you're less likely to pull this tail like into your work that you're working on. All right, so that's what we look like right now. So let's get our other color. I'm gonna use the 209. This is 552. I'm gonna get the 209. I'm gonna use fewer strands. So I'm gonna split this one and do 3. So if you did 4 for this, I would do 2 of your second color. So do half of whatever you used. So I'm gonna do 3. So I'm just gonna, these will untwist while I pull. And it like gets really twisted. So this like will get twisted together. So you kind of have to like straighten it out while you finish untwisting that. Okay, so now we've got these 3 strands. Hold on to these. We'll use them another time and set them aside. And then we'll just use our 3 that we pulled out. Okay. So I'm just gonna go in and like every 3 stitches, I'm just gonna put in another stitch. So like 1, 2, 3. So like right here, I'm gonna come up between these 2. And just go across and kind of make them look a little bit more like a siding. And then we've got 1, 2, 3. And then just like slide my needle between the 2 so it can go down, kind of creates like a little pocket for it to like go down in. Because I don't want it to be like on top of it. I want it to kind of blend in a little bit, so. So you could do them closer together if you want to do like 2, or you could do them further apart and do 4 stitches. Kind of just whatever seems to look best in your eyes. And then we'll just get that in there. Now if you pull it too tight, it's gonna go like way down like under them. But if you don't pull it too tight and just like pull it snug, but don't like pull it so tight that it like disappears. Now there's less gaps. It's like filling in that space a little bit better. 1, 2, 3. Just gives it a little bit of some fun detail. Now, if you don't want to do all this detailing, you could just mix the colors, do like 3 of the lighter pink and 3 of the medium toned pink, or we're working with purple. You know what I mean. Just do like put 3 of each in your needle at one time. That's what we did last time. Because then you have like some, it's not just one color. You could also just use one color. But it's kind of fun to make it look a little different, give it some character. I feel like this fabric is shedding. There is like so much fuzz everywhere. One, 2, 3. Okay, one more. Now I would do all of the first purple and then come in with your second color. Like, don't do it like me. Don't do like this little section and then like don't do a little section at a time, because I have tons more of this left. So if I had all of my medium colored purple done, then I could go in and do all of my detailing. But because I am just showing you what we're doing, I don't want to stitch this whole thing on a live video because it will take a really long time. And nobody wants to sit here for 2 hours. One, two, three. Okay. So that's how it's gonna look, like that. I feel like it's really bright in here today, and the colors are funny. That looks more purpley. Anyways. Okay, so I'm going to let you go. I'm gonna keep working. So when I get off this live, I will post a picture of the areas to stitch, and then I will keep working on mine, and then I will post a photo when I'm done. So let me know if you have questions as you get working on this, and then we will move on to like the tower section tomorrow. So if you don't finish this, it's okay. Like don't stress about, like this will take some time. So get working on it. Let me know if you have questions, and I will see you back here tomorrow.